it was quite the setup this year. You know, you definitely knew they were on their road, and it was amazing to see just how many different kinds. It's just like where their ideas come from is just amazing to see that they just pump out all these masks. You're like, I never had that thought in my mind that would be a mask, you know. So it was interesting to see all the different kinds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those sketches are so elaborate and stunning, and you just like watching them sculpt is mesmerizing. It's amazing. Yeah, Andrew is absolutely phenomenal. I literally like, I remember watching him, like, seeing, like, the Diablo mask for the first time, and I just, like, I was, like, looking at it, and I was just, like, telling him to do this. I want to look at every single little detail. This is crazy. And, like, I don't know, there's just some of the...
He was out in front of my house, and I was told that it was all canceled. So I called this guy up, and I said, hey, the fire marshal's out. He goes, he must not have got the memo. So I walked out there, and he's, you know, not sure he's not nothing. He's not a very nice guy. He's all mad that he didn't. He goes, I said, hey, I got notified that we're good, right? And I gave him the guy's name. He goes, well, I got notified I'm supposed to be here. So it's just kind of back and forth for a minute. And he finally said, all right, fine, and he left. And so for us, it took that intervention from that guy to kind of open it up for us, because we were shut down for a year, and now do whatever we want. Apparently, you know, if we want to go into the pool and out of the pool, bring a fire, you know, whatever.
Probably not.
Probably not. But so anyway, it ended up good for us, and so I think state by state, or
grew up in the 80s, and the golden age of slasher films and all that. You know, you see their hard days work, like causing mayhem, disembodying people. What do they do after when they go home? You know, it's got to be tiring. They're working all day.
Speakeasy.
Graveyard shift, something like that. What do they do? They don't really show it in the movies if they show any of their home life. They're always just doing some professional development, right? They're sharpening their knives, stitching their scalp connection together. They're perfecting their like finger chili recipe or something. They're not actually. What are they actually doing? You know, they must get tired. Right. Or something, or there's some like kind of monster Uber Eats or something. Right. But this is definitely a theme that kind of has continued through it, and really like what do they do, kind of in their off time, and it kind of rests on some assumptions like they can all sing and dance. This actually probably has more dancing than any Halloween attraction. It's probably there's even more coming.
I'm dedicating this episode to Sean Mills, by the way.
My opinion is they all can dance. Talking about zombies.
We love you, Sean.
I just watched the long thriller video from 83, I guess. Like 14 minutes long. This is 1983. MTV had only been on the air like a couple of years.
And that's when she knew she fell in love with you.
Right?
Oh, my God. That is epic.
Oh, yeah. So my semi is just full of all my wallpaper. It's bad. I mean, it just way over the weight limit. It's ridiculous. But it all comes off on pallets. So, I mean, it goes up really fast.
So, when you say it goes up pretty fast, you start, how long does it take you? Obviously, it's a seasonal thing, so...
You ready to call bullshit?
No, I've done this. No, I've done this, so I know how fast it can go up. I just want to know, you know, are we talking like Labor Day weekend, you start, and then you're tearing down by the middle of November? And back in the hole? You put it up in 2 weeks? Yeah. Okay. So
I'm talking now.
Dan,
I'm talking
like lighting, sound,
I'm talking
all the details,
lights, sounds, and everything.
Wow.
What do you have?
You have to remember bullshit.
You got a little fucking munchkins
He
in
doesn't
there,
have
or
a
what?
day job. Remember, he doesn't have a day
That's
job.
bullshit. I call bullshit. 2 weeks?
Okay.
Seriously?
I will tape it. This year. Now,
They are on a cruise.
I'm coming down. I'm only an hour away. I'm coming
True.
down.
You are. I'm telling you.
Marine. He wakes up at dark 30.
Ask my wife. I'm a fucking animal, and I make myself
He doesn't
sick
sleep
every year.
And he doesn't sleep.
Okay, so how many people do you set up with you? How many people you got on your court? Just you.
Just you.
Well, it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. The Haunt Hour. With your host, Troy Crivello. Susie Fleesick. And Dan Doble. Tonight's guest is Devin Price from Nightmares on the Rouge and Carnival of Chaos. So sit back, strap in, and welcome to the Haunt Hour.
Welcome to the Haunt Hour. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Hi.
Hey,
I'm
Troy,
here.
how the hell are you?
Hi.
Welcome to another Haunt Hour, everybody, where it's just men and Susie's in West Virginia.
Christopher's already upset. Great. We're upsetting everybody.
Most people are excited for the panties to come onto this show, but
Evidently, Sean is upset. What the fuck? I think he was talking about the floating Troy head that was jumping around on there.
I want to know why is my dog on the desk? I mean,
what? Your dog is very untrained. You need to train that dog.
He is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, we're here we're here for another Tuesday night.
We are.
Haunt Hour.
We are. Yeah. Dan, how you been?
Okay
there. Okay, up there in the Great White North.
Okay there up in Wisconsin.
Gonna
it's 34 degrees today. Yeah.
It was 55 here in the rain. Yeah.
It was 85 last week, and now it's 34.
I've been hearing about that from people that it was super warm last week, and now it's snowing this week. So that's
Welcome to Wisconsin. What are you?
That's what I've heard. Yeah. Well, you chose to live there, so
I did.
I will wave to you this time next year from my back porch in Dallas in 85-degree weather. And
it's a dry heat, though. It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
So what's new with you? Anything? What's been going on since last week? Anything hauntingly good?
Oh, is that a segue?
It might have been.
It might have been. I don't know what we should go. You know what? I think we'll go with the where a bunch of our haunter friends are right now, because you know where they are, right?
Where would they be?
Where would they be? They're on a cruise. Yep. And so a little
oh
shit. So let's just say that there's about 50 haunters that are on that boat right there, the Carnival Freedom, and they are doing a lot of crazy shit. Okay. And they're sending me pictures. Like, I have been driving the last couple days, and I have to pull over because I have to make memes of these things. I have about 60 memes right now that have been sent out to different people, and and they keep sending me pictures, like this. Bill driving his little ATV, but he's been knocking over Mr. Unicorn cutouts that he so I have to race home, or I have to get on my phone and make memes real fast, so that they can that's Bill and Chad, his ring buddy.
Yep.
But he also found out that there's a secret excursion menu on there, and he gets to play Mario Kart on Princess K there. But also there is some sad news. Some of the people on the excursions did get attacked by a unishark, and it was a terrible experience for all.
I can't believe whoever got that picture. It's priceless. I mean, I
don't know. I mean, it's very hard to get a picture of the unishark.
Science.
They did it.
It's definitely science.
They did it. We also we should have done this before they left, but I came up with the TaterCon bingo. So backstory: Tater is Scott Taterlin from Froggy's Fog. His birthday was I think the 10th. I think, yeah. And so he goes on a big trip. A couple times it was Universal with me and a bunch of other haunters. He went to Gatlinburg last year, and this year they decided to do a cruise. And so they are on this cruise, and some of these are inside jokes, but you got Bill Bornder yelling dumbass. He yells that all the time. Taylor is Taylor from Graffiti FX, and she tends to get hit on by people all the time, especially on various apps and stuff. Nate has encountered the police already there, so that's been great. The pool has been shut down many times for puke. As far as I've been told, the majority of these squares are filled up and they need a new card. And I'm like, well, you're coming back tomorrow, so maybe next year. Yeah. But yes, so they are having a lot of fun without us in the Bahamas, but somebody has to hold down the fort here, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's us. And that's
the United States is not safe without us.
The flag is upside down. We're in a lot of trouble, guys. We need you to come back.
Oregon is burning down because of Troy.
That's right.
Yep. Fucking snowing in April.
Yeah,
here in Wisconsin.
It's all because they left. They put the world in upheaval.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But Susie talked about that she can't be here tonight. Said she's in West Virginia, getting a freezer from the back lot. They're gonna go visit some friends, get some freezers. Evidently, she's opening an ice cream shop. I don't know.
Yeah, this just in. Susie's got another business.
Susie's got another business. She's gonna be flinging she's gonna forget what she's doing, and she's going to be at the ice cream stand, and somebody's going to order like a Rocky Road, and she's going to hand him a coffee. It's just going to get to that point.
I know she's going to have ice cream.
Ice cream. That's good. She needs to come up with Halloween names for the stuff. No, Susie is not on the cruise, Sean. She is actually in West Virginia. On her way back, she's picking up an ice cream freezer for her new ice cream shop. Ironically named Choice Creams.
Yes.
But she did mention panties, and I know that this has been a big issue that we've been asked by the masses. It's been overwhelming requests for this, and we can't not we have to. So we are now debuting the Haunt Hour panties.
These are more oh my god.
We do have them in men's as well.
Oh, so look at that.
See?
Oh, Hanes. It's a good brand. It's a good brand.
Hanes Haunt Tower. And for the ladies who are, a little more risque, we of course have thongs. Of course. You can send your money to me. P.O. Box down payment on a house 343. See, Sean, there he pipes. Take my money.
Take my money.
Dan wants a pair of these and a pair of these.
Yeah.
For those warm nights in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Troy, you're outdo yourself every weekend. I tell you. Without panties.
I know, right? So now we have our own panties. Haunt scene, the ball is in your court now, so we got panties. What do you got?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got a little ghost.
he's definitely behind the times now. Gotta have some panties. I don't know why.
Gotta have some panties.
But we actually do have real Wow, I should probably turn that one down.
Yeah, that was loud.
It was very loud. Sorry about that. We will. I think the other ones are just as loud, so we'll.
Haunting news.
Even though Susie's not here, we will still talk about the Chamber Bowl.
Yes. That bigger. She moved up. She won.
She did. I can't make it any bigger. But she is down there. It's actually today. Voting is today. We will put a link up on our Haunt Hour page. The voting is today. I believe you have another, 4 or 5 hours depending on where you are. So you can vote for Crawford School of Terror. If you don't, again, I know where all of you live. So we discussed that.
Where's the link? I don't see it.
I will put it. I'll put it on the Haunt Hour page when we're done with the show.
Why don't you put it here while everybody's actually
so everybody can just look at it and go, okay, cool, and then they can leave
they're
our stream and go look at something else.
leave our
Dan?
stream.
Why would
It
you want to
opens
do
up
that?
another stream because we want to make sure Susie wins and goes to the end so we can, make fun of her.
While we're chatting with Devin, I'll put it up, okay?
Attaboy.
You're so neat.
Haunting news.
Haunting news. So they will when they beat Shadows of Fear, they will go up against Hidden Screams. And as we go along the rest of the week here and next week, we will bring in the other side. I am pulling for Fatal Fear. That is a home haunt out of Austin, Texas. They are cruising along. And I would love it to be Fatal Fear versus Crawford School of Terror, which then I will bow out because I can't.
I won't bow out. My allegiance is with Susie, panties and all.
I may, you know what? Fine, then I may have to go with Fatal Fear so that we can
I
split
don't put some money on this.
Yeah. What? Oh,
put some money on this.
Some money on this?
Put a little wager on this.
And you live in Wisconsin. I don't want to take money from the
poor. It's Venmo. We can do it. We can do whatever you want.
But also, I mean, these are some pretty cool logos, by the way. I have to admit, there's a lot of cool logos in here.
Yeah,
definitely see some Chad Savages in there, and some other people's work in there. So that's good. Everybody's up in their game with logos lately. I love that. Marketing is big, man. Marketing's big.
It is. It's getting a little bit more accessible and more reasonable.
It is. I just don't want to see somebody sit there and type into Google when they rebuild their search engine with AI and go, make me a haunted house logo, because then we're going to have a bunch of logos that say cool haunted house or #1 haunted house tri-state area, and it's going to be this logo that just has a house that's spooky, and it's going to be dumb. So don't use AI, please.
No, but I think we should use AI, and it'd be funny is doing make me a haunted house logo with Tater's face.
We may have to work. I may have to work on that this week for the next.
Might have to work on that one this week because I want to see that.
Make Dan a scare actor. I may have
writing Mr. Unicorn.
Mr. Unicorn's a scare actor unto himself.
Indeed, he is.
Scary as all hell.
Speaking of scary as all hell,
what? I have more. Oh, do you have more news? Because I have more news too.
No, I don't. I was just throwing on another segue.
You're a segue to what? We don't have anything to segue to
all
yet.
over this.
So yes, that is that. I noticed. Let's see. We'll go back to this because then I can switch the screens. I have noticed that people have been posting this in different parts of the country already, but it is coming to my area. And it's thanks to Devin, who will be on our show here in a little bit. He posted it on their Facebook page. But this is the Paranormal Cirque. I think Cirque. I think this is the. Hold on, let's see. I should have named these.
I feel like this came around before.
I think it did, but I don't think it was produced as well as this looks, because everybody I keep seeing says that this is like amazing and it's really, really well done. There seem to be 3 different tours. They're on different parts of the country, and they're in my area the rest of this month. But it's definitely alternative circus stuff, which is better than animals, lion taming and stuff like that.
Oh gosh, Troy, I'm gonna throw one out there. What was the name? What was the name of the act that opened for 9 Inch Nails in the 90s?
Oh,
they used to pick up like cinder blocks with their nipples. If anybody's watching and you can remember what the name of it was, post it in the
Rammstein.
No, it was.
Rammstein is a lot of the, but for 9 Inch Nails, man, I don't know.
It was the 90s. It was like the big freak shows type thing that opened in the 90s.
George says he was pulled on stage. Very sexual, very adult-like. So yeah, you that is one thing. You cannot nobody under 13 is allowed. And if you're 13 to 18, you have to be with a parent. And from I have heard that as well, that it is very sexual, it's very graphic. Not like sex, but there is lots of loose body parts probably. And it's definitely, adult themed. So it is right now it is the rest of this month it is in Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah, and it's also in Oregon as well, and then it's in Florida for the rest of May and the end of April as well. So they've got 3 different groups. So it's kind of like Cirque du Soleil where they've got different troops. Check it out. It's at Paranormal Cirque. I guess that's how you said it. I don't know how to say French words. Cirque. So it's .com, and you can check out. I know they were just in Texas last month, I think. Or maybe it was the end of February. I know several, Jake Farmer from Dark Hour went, and he did a video about it and stuff like that. But, and I think the tickets are they're like $40, $40 to $60. $60, you're right there in the front. 40 to 45, you're back in the other, the other round.
I got it. It's the Jim Rose Circus.
Jim Rose Circus, man, that dates you. I don't know what that is.
Jim Rose Circus.
George's wife approves. Like, if that's not a glowing review of why you should go, I think
100%.
So I think that would be a cool thing for people to hang out and do together. Maybe grab some haunter friends and go do that. We will not play the intro to the how-to, but here's the how-to haunters.
Why? Why aren't we playing the intro?
Because it's loud. I forgot how loud it was.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you're gonna blame. I thought you were gonna blame somebody else for that.
No, it's absolutely
just mute it, and we can play
no,
music.
I can't mute it because it's on the other section. It's on the other. Yeah,
fine.
So
we're not gonna have any intros this week. Lame. I blame Susie because she's not here.
How-to of the week.
The how-to of the week.
Microphones are the coolest thing ever, people. Like, microphones, these are so cool. If you don't have a cool microphone, you're not cool. I don't. This is an old one, but it's a good one. This is 9 years old, but I have used this many times. This is Hollywood Haunters, and I think everybody knows.
Yes.
Them.
Fantastic.
But basically, what it is you take vinegar and steel wool, and you put it in a bucket, and you let it sit out for a long time. Like, I think it's for a couple of a couple hours. But you break apart the steel wool in there and stuff like that. And so after 24 hours, you add some water to it, and you can actually change the look of that wood to be like grayed and distressed. Now, I know they have like gray stain and stuff like that, but most of us have vinegar and most of us have steel wool sitting around the house. And if you don't have a bucket, you're not a haunter either. There's a lot of things I say that can't be. Yeah. But I have used this, and it absolutely does work. That's kind of your before and after.
So wow, that's pretty snazzy. I don't think I've ever seen this video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was actually looking when they put this video out. I was looking for a way to distress the walls of my cabin that I was building, and it wasn't that blonde of wood, but it was definitely much brighter than I wanted it to be. And I was like, well, how would I do that? And they're like, do this, and you can actually put that into even like a paint sprayer, and stuff like that, and get that on there. So if you had a bigger area to do it, but it actually does work, and it is. I mean, that's pretty gray. I think at the time, gray, they didn't have a gray stain like the Minwax gray stain at that time. I know they have it now, but stain sucks. Like, this won't get if it gets on you, I don't think it does very much to your clothes. Like, stain, it's done.
Does it stain it?
It stains it. I know, crazy, huh? So yeah, just kind of an old tried and true. Christopher says too much and it causes the wood to rust and gives it a brown reddish look. So you can add more than
too much if you leave the stainless or the steel wool in the vinegar for too long.
Or do you put too much?
I think he's being sarcastic. Because how does wood
Christopher
rust?
being sarcastic? That's never happened in the life, if history, of anything. She wants to try. We're gonna have George on. By the way, I've been trying to get George on for 2 years now. And we're just gonna have his wife on instead. So too much steel wool, not enough vinegar. Oh, okay. So you could change the ratios of things, kind of like Monster Mud. You can change them, to get a little different stuff to it. So yeah. So I will. Hollywood Haunters, as everybody knows, they have a ton of videos on how to stuff dating back years and years and years and years. So I'm sure the majority of us have their playlists, bookmarked. And
if not, you can just look up Hollywood Haunter, and you'll find it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
You know who else? You know what else I found? I found that
What else have you found?
there are 2 haunted houses in Southern Oregon right now that I haven't been able to go to.
And why is that?
Because I'm moving, and I was really busy last year, and our guest invited me, and I was like, it's far down, like it's super far down. Like I think it's like 4 hours south of me.
Yeah,
so it's a bunch of excuses of me not supporting all the haunts in the region all the time, and I try to do my best. But I think he'll forgive me. We'll have him on and we'll ask him if he'll forgive me. So welcome, Mr. Devin Price.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'll think about forgiving you depending on how this episode goes.
Oh,
forgive him at the end.
I can help it
at the end.
Oh, he's gone.
That's it.
Well, hi, my name is Devin. I'm the new host of Haunt Hour.
Right,
Devin. Welcome. Welcome.
Yeah,
So,
thank
Devin,
you for having me. Yes.
Let's talk haunted houses. But before we do that, let's talk about who you are as a person and where you got started in haunting. And we're talking let's go way back. Let's dial it all the way back to elementary school.
Okay.
Let me see. Let's see where you started this nightmare.
So I am from Salt Lake City, Utah. I grew up in Salt Lake. I went to the University of Utah, and from as early as I can remember, my parents were taking me to haunted houses. I don't think they should have been taking 4 and 5-year-olds, but back then, I was on my mom's shoulders, and she was running. I think it was called like Wheeler Farm or something. But it wasn't until I was end of elementary school, I went to a haunted house called Rocky Point, and I was a big film lover, and it was like I was walking through a horror film. It was so detailed. It was almost like I was going through Disneyland, but scary. And actually, they even had a Pirates of the Caribbean theme at the time. So there was that Disney aspect. And at that point, I knew that one day I wanted to own a haunted house. It really, I could pin it back to that point. So going through Rocky Point and seeing what the industry is, and started going to more of the bigger haunts in Utah. There was obviously Nightmare on 13th was starting to get pretty big. The Castle of Chaos was a big one. And so in 2007, Travel Channel was doing a big feature on all the haunts. And can't remember, I think it was before America Haunts, they had this segment. And 2 of the ones they featured were actually Nightmare on 13th and Castle of Chaos. And so I just grew up around these bigger haunts. And I told myself one day when I get $1 million, that's what I was going to do. And so kind of had that dream. And also during that time, I went to a home haunt across 2 streets away. And so I started planning my own home haunt that my mom never let me have. And so I would write out all of these like props and give it to her as my Christmas list. And she's like, no, we're not going to do that. I would draft out blueprints in my yard and take string out and put it on the grass. I had one of those old Hoover handheld vacuums, and then a 3-foot yardstick that was metal. And I wrapped tinfoil around it and painted it red. And that was my chainsaw. And so I used to just do some crazy stuff. Made awesome. Fake advertisements, really with the thought that one day I would have a haunted house. But in the back of my mind, I knew that the dream would be a long ways away. It would take millions of dollars, take all these things I didn't know about. And so fast forward, I finished school. I had a job in Southern Oregon. I met my wife, and I ended up becoming a director for a youth center. And this was in 2019, and we were thinking about what we were going to do for our fall fundraiser. And the light bulb clicked. I was like, I have a 15,000 square foot building. I have a group of people who will listen to me, who want to make money for these kids. And so I kind of pitched the idea that I've always wanted to do a haunted house, and they were crazy enough to agree to let me do it. And so I feel bad for them, because I probably took up like 9,000 square feet of this really nice youth center. And so they were all doing their after school programs in the back corner while we were getting this haunt ready. And we put it together in a month. didn't know what we were doing, but we knew that we had a passion for it, and it ended up being really good in the area, and people loved it, and it kind of showed me that there was a need and a want for attractions in Southern Oregon. And so we had to close down the youth center in 2021 due to the pandemic, and we tried to be an emergency childcare facility, and Oregon was just changing our regulations every week. And so we took 2020 off, and then in 2021, my wife and I were like, I was like, I want to do this. I want to try to do this for real. I had the business backing, I had the marketing backing, but I didn't know really how to construct walls and how to light 12 volt and work with pneumatics. And so I started just watching hours and hours and hours of YouTube, Hollywood Haunters, Haunt Collective, a bunch of stuff, and kind of we taught ourselves how to make flats, and we kind of just went from there. And now we're in a position where we have 2 haunted attractions and getting over 10,000 people to come through and just really loving it. But yeah, it's kind of the abridged but long version of what got me into haunting. But I would credit it to Rocky Point.
Oh yeah.
I for those that don't know, Rocky Point is like one of the best haunts ever made in the United States. I never had the luxury to see it, but I hear many, many stories by a lot of professional haunted attraction owners that have been to that haunt. And I mean, it started in the 80s, didn't it?
Yeah.
Rocky Point. I mean, that was an 80s haunt, 90s haunt. It closed in
2007. They opened up in the springtime in March. I got to go the last night it was open.
Oh, you're so
nice.
lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
Yeah.
But
Utah's a great place for haunts. Like you wouldn't think it would be. Like you would think because it's there's a lot of the winter there is not really forgiving at all. And it's most people don't think about Utah when they think about because it is closer to the West Coast and stuff where out here, if you're not on the West Coast, people kind of forget about Colorado and Utah and like Montana and Wyoming and all them. They don't have hardly any haunted houses, if any at all.
People there,
right? And like Arizona has a few. New Mexico, I think they've got 1 or 2 in the entire state. So you kind of get lumped into that just assumption. But then you remember, there are a lot of great haunted houses there, and there's a lot of great home haunters there too. And it's just they're just quieter about it, I guess. I mean, minus Fear Factory and Spencer.
I didn't realize how spoiled I was living there. There's like 6 or 7 in the Salt Lake Valley of like mega haunts, like 40,000 square feet, getting 50, 60,000 people. My senior year of high school is when Fear Factory opened, and I actually had an opportunity to do a behind the scenes video for them on their opening night. And I remember I was interviewing somebody, and it was one of their makeup artists, and they were telling me, they're like, you know what, if it's not this year, in the next 2 years, this is going to be a top 25 haunt. We're going to get there. In the back of my mind, I was like, okay, because we were referencing Rocky Point and seeing where they are now and stuff. It's awesome. And it wasn't until I left Salt Lake where I started going to smaller haunts, more local haunts, and it kind of was more inspiring where it's like, this is something that I could do now. I don't have to have a 40,000 square foot warehouse and $1 million budget, where I could have a 5, 7, 10,000 place and start smaller, and it was more feasible than I thought. So, but I got to see what it could be.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking about that, like, what do you think are some challenges about haunt and having 2 pro haunts in a smaller population area of a state? If people don't realize, Southern Oregon is like 4 or 5 hours south of me, and like you've got Portland and you've got Salem, has like 200 houses, and it's a lot smaller than Portland. And then you've got these little smaller towns that are on I-5 down to California, and they're kind of forgotten about there, but what like what do you think are like some challenges about haunting in a smaller town like that?
I would say the biggest thing is just educating the market. I think when I tell people that I own a haunted house and they haven't actually gone to my haunted house, they're kind of like, what's that? They don't think of it how I think of Fear Factory and Rocky Point and Dark Hour. They think of it as just something else. And so really having to educate that I'm trying to create this immersive walkthrough experience. And I'm really inspired by haunters like John the Flamboy, who everyone is. But how we approach haunting is that story-driven concept, and we're taking kind of the Disney approach if it was a horror film. And so I tell people all the time, just kind of come in one time, see if you like it from there. Don't judge it just based off the name haunted house. So the connotation is the hardest part. Finding actors wasn't initially as hard as I thought, just because I knew right away I wanted to pay my staff and pay my actors. And so it's not something that was traditionally done around our area. When we were at the youth center, we actually, all the kids who worked for us, they were doing it for a behind the scenes Disneyland trip. And so they were doing all these hours, and we were going to take 35 kids to Disneyland. And the day we were going to go is when it closed down due to COVID. But I knew I didn't have the nonprofit status anymore. I knew I didn't want to take that angle. I wanted to do it the right way. So we really made sure that start of our initial investment was into people instead of these bigger props. And we have these bigger props. We've invested in some animatronics, but first I wanted to make sure that my actors and staff were taken care of. And so that's helped us retain a lot of our people. And then we actually are fortunate where Medford is a smaller town, but I have about 300,000 people within an hour drive, and Jackson County alone is about 220,000. And it's not a million people or a couple million, but I still think that we're in a position where we could still be a profitable haunted house if done correctly and if the quality's there. And so just sometimes my mind is further than my wallet. And so there's things that I want to do. And I'm sure it's like this for most haunters and home haunters. It's like, my wife tries to tell me, it's like, you can't spend the whole budget. Cause I would go spend all my personal money too, which I did to start it. But
of course,
yeah. So making myself slow down and then just educating the area what a haunted house is are the two biggest hurdles that I've noticed.
Sweet. Go ahead, Troy. I had a question about marketing, but
I was literally going to say the same thing. So go ahead, Dan.
Well, my question, just jump back to marketing. You're a smaller haunt. I mean, compared to the big dogs, like, where do you, first year opening a professional haunted house, where did you put your marketing dollars versus now?
First two things I wanted to do was make sure we seemed legit. I think first impressions are important. So I knew our logo and our website had to be top notch. And so I went to who I think is the best person in the industry, Chad Savage. And I paid him to create our website and to create our logo. And really to help us with a brand that we can theme all of our videos and marketing posts around. We are still probably a decade behind bigger cities. So radio still works. Guerrilla marketing is very big with us. Kind of flyers and word of mouth is still a big thing. And what I think is the most important and impactful is Facebook sponsored ads. We still have a lot of our area and population uses Facebook and even kids. And so we've seen a lot of good traction by putting our money there. And I think I put a lot of money year one into radio. I think I'm going to do less of that and more on our social media sponsored ads. And then we still do some digital ad, Google display ad keywords. And we tried over the top last year, but I swear I watch haunted house YouTube videos every night. And I'm the premier customer for that. And I didn't see our ad one time. So I don't know if I'm going to do that again because you're supposed to have some YouTube ads. And I don't know how impactful that was.
Yeah.
For us.
Just to focus in on the guerrilla marketing. What did you do in specific for guerrilla style marketing?
First, a lot of our initial cast was trying to reach out to local groups and get the different schools involved. So we identified different basketball teams, different areas within the school. And so really trying to target kids. Youth athletics is a big part in our area. So football games. It seems like now Halloween starts in August and July. It's even here in a smaller area. So as soon as the Spirit Halloweens go up, we're making sure we're plastering our banners over that. And then downtown Medford, we were making sure we had good signage around. And so really kind of that word of mouth. And a lot of it was me, my wife, my brother-in-law. I don't know if we were supposed to, but I'd stand with a costume out in front of the outlet mall, in front of the Spirit, and hand out flyers until they kicked us out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of just the spreading of information. And It's hard because now it's getting more word of mouth, but that initial one was kind of scary because we did put a lot of money in, and we went from, I would not say we were a pro level haunt at the youth center to in 2021 really jumping into it. So.
That's awesome.
Do you think like listing sites like this? By the way, I'm enamored by the little spiders that you can touch on this website and they fall down and when you hover over them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what do you think about like listing sites like that, like the map sites, I know like Find this haunts.com. What do you think about those for retention of audiences?
We did it our first year in 2019 is when we created our OregonHauntedHouses.com page and haunts.com. And it was our first time trying to figure out where we need to be seen. For a first year, I think it was good. I think that I don't really agree in ratings because I think they're subjective. I think, right. I'm not going to lie though, we did get a lot of traction on our Oregon Haunted Houses, and there was an award coming out for Haunt of the Year, and I was crossing my finger that we didn't win because I would be like, there's no way it'd be legitimate if we won this year. I just want to be like a finalist so I can put that out. And then I saw in 2019 Oregon Haunted House of the Year in Oregon, and I was just like, kind of frustrated. But at the same time, being a marketing person, we didn't just blast that out, but we did. Now we kind of go with more of a rated one of Oregon's premier haunted attractions. This last year, we were able to get the scare factor out, and I do think I like how they approach things because it's actually people coming through opposed to just random reviews. I love their site. I love watching their things. I think one thing that's hard is that when I see those reviews, I base it off of geographically about the haunts that my group actually went to because it could be subjective. Or else the Pacific Northwest just has a bunch of horrible haunts because our scores are generally lower. But we did fare well with that too. We actually got the second highest score in Oregon by the scare factor. Awesome. And so it did kind of help bring validation to that OregonHauntedHouses.com. But I don't know if we're going to do it again. It is like a spoiler, like a $600 advertising fee to be listed on that. And originally, I would say though it helped because now if you Google Nightmares on the Rogue, we do come up and it's through that website. That's one of the first 3 or 4 things listed. So it does help. It's like a search engine display, helping that word that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, it's with those sites, like you said, there is obviously a subjective thing about the reviews and stuff, but I definitely agree. We had Scare Factor on a couple weeks ago, and I agree that the way they do it is much more honest, to me, but it's also from a haunter perspective, not the general public.
Right. And you have to also remember that if you're buying advertising and you type in, like, you have to think like a teenager. What haunted house do I want to go to? So you type in scariest haunted houses in Wisconsin or best haunted houses in Wisconsin. And if I just Googled best haunted houses in Oregon, and OregonHauntedHouses.com pops up on the first page, right underneath the all the Fear PDX and Carnival of Chaos and Fearlandia. So the kids are going to click on that.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Parents are going to click on that. They're going to try and figure it out. And then you're right there. So when we did our pro haunt, we went with hauntedwisconsin.com, which is the same thing, but it was the premier thing in Wisconsin, but that was many, many years ago too. Right. Almost before social media, but it's still, I think it's worth it to put it on there. If it shows up on the first page, it's definitely worth it until you start ranking with Google. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. And I mean, that's the thing is, the most people who don't know exactly where all the haunted houses are. And I mean, of course, after you've lived there long enough, you kind of know where they're going to be, but people still every year, it's probably one of the most common search phrases in October is
Yes.
haunted houses in my state, whatever it is, you know.
Yes.
The problem with it is sometimes you'll get where it's haunted places,
Mhm.
not haunted houses, you know. But I mean, the first thing that does come up is Oregon haunted houses. They have obviously paid a good amount of money to make sure that that rises to the top of Google. You know, but you know, you definitely come up with, you know, several things to do. But that haunts.com, it's on here 3 times now on the front page. Do you have to pay the $600 even if you're just listing it on there as a listing? Because I think I've done haunted houses, and I don't think that but you said it was more like it was pushed up and
more of an
like
advertisement.
Well, yeah, I did it originally. I didn't even know they did a rating when I did it. It was more of an advertising, and I can't remember the fee, but it was so that you could be on the banner on the side and then on one of the featured haunts. So that was part of our advertising costs.
But you could not pay that, and it would just be a listing. And
I think there's still a cost. I think there's still a base pay, and it's really not.
It's
I think it's still pretty expensive. But it was hard too, being in a smaller area, and I'm like a friendly guy. I don't like I'm an athlete, and so I played basketball my whole life, so I'm competitive. But I also I feel like the haunt community is very close knit, and in our area, I'm really good friends with the other haunts, and so I didn't want to be the new person in town that came out putting down everyone's face to like #1 haunt in Oregon, and in our specific area, there'd be 2 haunts that were there for 10 years before that, and so we definitely try to toe the line between helping with our advertisement and still being friendly and respectful to the community we have, because I think haunts are subjective, and I know people that go through $1 million haunt and love it, and people that go through like more of a local haunt think it's better, and so it's really hard.
They're all good. I always talk about, I've said this, Troy knows it, every haunt's awesome in my book. I mean, it's an art gallery is what it is. And everybody has their own take on their haunt, and you can't, it's definitely subjective. So
what I find funny about this Oregon haunted houses, the Oregon haunted houses.com, is that the ones that are featured, like My Morbid Mind's in Washington, by the way, so that shouldn't really, I mean, I understand why he's paying for that, because people in this area, and it's something that I'm starting to learn about people in Texas as well, is that we are fine with driving 3 or 4 hours to go to somewhere. Like, I have driven up to My Morbid Mind on my own to see it. I've driven up to, Seattle, in different years, and it's not a big deal. Where I feel like in some other parts of the country, like driving like an hour or 2 to go see a haunted house might be like too much for them. And that's foreign to me, but it's weird that all the ones that are on here, none of them are in Portland. Like these, I mean, you have Nightmares, you got Morbid, you got Roseburg Fight Club, you've got Nightmare Factory, Milburn's, Nightmare Chamber. Portland Ghost is a walking tour of downtown Portland, which please don't do. But I cannot condone that activity. But it's, but that to me kind of shows, okay, we have like 4 haunted houses in the Portland, Vancouver area that aren't featured on here. So they have decided that it's not worth it for them, where the smaller haunts or the ones in the smaller cities see that this is a better option, because people, like you were saying, people down in Southern Oregon are about 10 years behind the times of what's going on with social media and about haunted houses in general. And so, they're going to type in haunted houses in Oregon, and they're going to see your guys' stuff down there, which is great.
Yeah. And the Portland haunts, I think most of them were in there until 2019. I remember Fear PDX, Fearlandia, the one in Gresham.
Yeah, that's gone now.
But I do think that like for Fear PDX is so big and stuff, and they have really good quality, and it like wouldn't make sense for them to be on here and get beaten by a Southern Oregon haunt when this site shows that, but it's not really. So it doesn't make sense for all haunts to do it.
Was Fear PDX the one that you got kicked out of, Troy, for interviewing at the end of the haunt?
I did. I totally did, because it was their Valentine's blackout haunt.
Oh
and
my
Brian still gives me crap about that now. He told me, he goes, you can come on through, and I have a video camera, and he saw me with it, and he didn't say anything. About halfway through, like his security guard goes, "You have to take that. You have to leave." And I'm like, I don't want to say this, but like the security guard didn't know who I was, and I was like, do you know who I am? And he's like,
I'm
no.
Troy with Inside the Haunted Street.
I did. I was like, Brian can see me. I'm looking at the camera up in the corner. I'm like, Brian, hi, get your goon off me. And he's like, we didn't know you were gonna like film live. We thought you were gonna do it not live. And I was like, well, it's a blackout haunt. Nobody can see me anyway. People just wanted to hear me scream.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Yeah,
so much fun.
But I mean, that is interesting that there's actually several more escape rooms in here than there are anything that has to do with haunted house. I thought I was in here. I'm upset now. I mean, it's okay, but I thought I was in here as Oregon Haunted Houses because they had something. They had for home haunts in here too. You could put it down. So maybe they took those out. Maybe because I don't see any other.
Started making money with these websites.
Yeah, so that's probably why is I didn't want to pay them money, and they're like, "You're out." I get it though.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than some Google ads and getting your SEO up and stuff.
Yeah, it really comes down to SEO, and you're right.
It is. Yep.
More places you're linked and all that fun jazz, and
I think they have my wrong address.
Chad Savage is a SEO master, so he builds that haunted house. He's got you linked all over the place too with other stuff. So
yeah, that's my old address. We were at that location in 2021.
Tyler Prophet, if you're listening, change that. Go to this. See, it's right here. It's right here. Here's the address. It's right here on Front Street in Medford.
Yes.
Also, talk to us about this. So what is this? Frights on Front.
Frights on Front. Okay, so funny story. So one of the hardest parts about owning a haunt is teaching people what a haunted attraction is. So our first year in 2021, our first pro level one, we met with our landlord, this 85-year-old guy. He was super kind, super nice, and we're like, we want to do a haunted attraction. So I laid out my business plan. We'd gone to Transworld and got Chaos certified. I just got done running a youth center, a basketball training facility. I've been running businesses in the area. Gave him my business plan, and he was like, great, this is amazing. Let's do it. And so we set up in his shop. It's about 3,500, 4,000 square feet. And there was a giant crack down the middle that he made me pay for. And so we smooth it out so it's safety for the guests. So we get all of our walls up, the whole haunt's ready. And also we wanted to add an outdoor component that we had previously got approved. So we had a 20 by 20 tent, we had chain link fence, and we had about 1,000 square feet outside along with our haunt. So I'm taking a nap. It's about 2 weeks before we open, and my phone rings. And I answer, and this lady's like, is Devin there? I was like, this is him. What are you doing at 1405 Hilton Road? And I was like, we have a haunted attraction there. You're not supposed to have a haunted house there. And so I was just waking up. So I said, excuse me, like, who is this? And she's like, my name is, and I'm not going to say her name, and I'm the property manager there. And I was like, okay, well, our lease specifically says haunted attraction. I'd be happy to meet with you there. And she just starts being extremely rude and tells me that she's going to have me shut down. I'm not supposed to be there. So I call her and tell her, you know what, let me call the owner of this property. And so he doesn't answer, and she calls me back and says, I want to have a meeting with you. So I meet with her there, and she's like, you're not supposed to do this. And I was like, well, it's zoned general commercial. Here's my papers for the city. Here's my fire marshal inspection. Here's through the planning department. I gave her all these things. Here's my lease, because I assumed she didn't read it. And she's like, well, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And so I don't hear from her. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So halfway through our haunt season, she comes back one night of operation. And we have this midway with 5 food trucks, photo ops, people on stilts. And she just starts going crazy. Like, what's going on? I told you you're not supposed to have a haunted house here. And again, I was super confused. She starts talking to all my vendors, telling them they have to leave. And I was like, no, this is not appropriate. I have like 800, 900 people in my line. And so we get to the end of the month, and I finally talked to my landlord. And I guess his family was very concerned that he had rented it out to a haunted attraction. And they told him that they were basically going to take over his property because he was too old, is kind of what they said. And so they threatened me with this legal battle, and I'm in a 3-year lease. And she comes to me and says, we want, like, this isn't a real business, and what you're doing to this area is not good. And I told her, families come here. We're right next to a weed shop. So I was like, you need to figure out who comes to this place every single day.
Right.
And so they come back at me. He's like, the only way I'll let you do this if you sign a new lease for an extra $1,000 a month. And so I'm kind of like, I like the area, I like the space. I was going to do it. But one of my degrees is in paralegal studies and contract law. And so I kind of drafted up a little bit. There was a couple things that were not okay. And basically, like, if the weed store complains, it's a $300 fine for each complaint. And I was like, that's very vague. I'm not paying $300 for this. And so I gave it back. I was like, we'd be happy to pay the extra money, but these changes need to be made. And then he's basically like, nope, you got to leave. And I was like, well, I'm in 2 years of a lease still.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, you got to leave. And so I knew I could fight it. But a haunt about a mile away in downtown Medford had let me know that his landlord, who he's had for 10 years, has a basement that's 6,000 square feet that's opening up underground below his haunt, and that he was looking for a tenant. So I spoke with him. He said I could come in, gave me a really good deal. And so I told the people, okay, let me out of my lease, I'll leave. And so he said, okay. He's about to sign the paper, and then I'm at Disneyland and I get a phone call, and I guess someone was trying to rob the weed shop, and they thought we were where they kept the weed. So they busted down the garage doors to the building, and there's like busted the wall up, and the guy's like, I'm not going to let you leave until you agree to pay for this, because he hadn't let me out of the lease. And so moral of the story is you really have to make sure you know who your landlords is. And we did everything by the book, and it still was kind of difficult. But we moved to Front Street. There's a haunt on top of us. We're below. We didn't know how it was going to work because it's 2 haunted attractions owned by different people in the same space. And so we created this branding called Frights on Front to help kind of tell people that there's these 2 haunts. We had a joint season pass. It kind of confused people because they thought we were just an extension of his, or they didn't know what was going on. Both of our haunts had the name Nightmare in it. He's the Nightmare Chamber. I'm Nightmares on the Rogue. But that's what Frights on Front is. So it's trying to figure out, collaboration, but we're still different businesses and haunts. And sorry for that extra long story.
I love that story. That's good stuff.
That was something that Tacoma Frights did as well. They were on the top floor of a haunt, and their partner was down below. And people just went, and you got to go to both. They just split the tickets down the middle. So $20 ticket, each of them got $10 per ticket. And so, but it allowed them to have 2 different themes and to do 2 different things. Now, I believe it was the guy that was on the top took over the whole building. But it is interesting to hear that, you had to, how you did the 2 different, completely different businesses, and that's interesting. But now you're separate. Right? Or are you
so Nightmare Chamber and Nightmares on the Rogue are completely separate. We have a really good working relationship. We have our joint marketing with Frights on Front. But that's it. We had the combo season pass ticket, but we didn't offer combo tickets besides that, just because we had different prices. But yeah, we have a really good relationship. He may end up watching this, but my goal is, because I'm a lot younger, is that one day, hopefully when he decides to retire, I could take over the whole building and do 2 haunts. And but yeah, so that's the entrance to Nightmares on the Rogue Haunted Mines, and you go down that picture right there. And then his is above.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
I see.
Yeah, the location's cool. It's downtown.
It's an established location too. That's even better.
Yeah.
Haunted. That's a win.
Yeah, some people who didn't know about us kind of were going to his and like, oh, there's another haunted house here. And so it helped us with that, and then helped him to get repeat visitors.
Right. So what do you guys do for like ticket booth then? Like, are your ticket booths in the same location?
They're different. Last year, we'd send people down the ramp, and we'd have a ticket booth down in the basement. We just bought a trailer, and we're going to actually have a ticket booth on the street so that we can use that area as an indoor queue line. But yeah, the only thing I miss about the old location is we were able to have a midway with food trucks and a lot more atmosphere, and that's super important to me. I think the haunt is what drives it, but I'm really big about the experience. And so we're trying to figure out how to create that experience, and it would be cool one day to have a property and do multiple haunts in a midway and stuff. But got to appreciate where you're at.
Yeah, midways are tough.
This is videos from our first one at the other location. It's one of our.
So do you like who is helping you build all of this? Do you have a lot of the actors and locals helping you, or is it a lot of just you? Who's on your team?
And where do you source your materials?
So,
right.
Yeah, we actually building our first major one in 2021 is scary because wood was astronomically expensive. Right. We were able to find a vendor who sells reclaimed wood, and so we were able to get old sheets of plywood for $10 that were still in really good condition. We started our walls with old 1x3s, and when wood got cheaper, we started going to Home Depot and getting 2x3s. And so for the first year, I had somebody working part-time for me to help me construct all those walls. This last year, it was just myself throughout the year. It was kind of hard because we had to take down the haunt. I had to move it to a new location, and our new location is completely underground, and the ceilings are only like 7.5 feet, and I have 8-foot walls. And so I had to cut all of my walls to about 7 feet, and then the parts that are in line with my sprinkler system had to be 6'9". And so this is like the first year that I feel like I'll really get to not have to spend a lot of time constructing walls and be more of the scenic side. But right now it's just me. I'm planning on doing a lot of DIY days and different projects, more of like corpsing skeletons, building more moss or vines, a lot of just Alan Hobbs videos that my actors can do and stuff. Yep. But I'm very particular, and I think I need to get it to a point where I'm super comfortable, where someone can come in and I can say, this is what it needs to look like. And if it doesn't get to that quality, I won't feel bad hurting their feelings by redoing it, because I did have a problem where I was having people come in and it just wasn't, our thoughts and visions weren't aligned, and I ended up just having to redo it, and I didn't want to hurt their feelings. And so still educating even my staff and my actors of what we're going for. But this is the new space. As you can see, the ceilings are low. It's great because it provides a really fun and creepy environment, and we have a mine theme. And so you really feel like you're claustrophobic in a mine. It sucks because I have these posts every 11.5 feet, so my designs don't work out because I have to push walls back that are normally 12 feet, and I had to cut things. So there's design challenges, but also it makes it unique.
Please tell me you use that as part of the haunt.
What I want to do is have somebody at the end of it in a minecart roll down it and have an effect like it's smushing them. Right now, all of my audio equipment was by it. Decided to disappoint you. But I'm trying to add it into the haunt.
That's why I didn't come last year.
I know.
You didn't have that operational.
Troy didn't get to ride down it with a unicorn.
right. I want to ride down the minecart.
But I honestly didn't think they were going to let me do a haunt down there. I met with the fire marshal beforehand. I said, I'm about to sign this lease. Please tell me if I can do it here and any limitations. And they were really cool. I think you can either take the approach where you don't give a lot of information and hope they don't know, or give them extra information so they know you're prepared, they know you're ready, they know you're about it. And we took that approach, and it's helped us, where our fire checks are super easy. I think the chaos class and that certification really, our local chief really likes it, and do everything right, spray things down with fire retardant, and but I'm a tall person, and even I feel like it's extra claustrophobic. I have a friend who's like 6'9", and he's like almost hitting the ceiling.
So scenic design, I feel like there's something we want to talk about with scenic design.
What, like the Haunters Toolbox?
Yes, that's it. That's it.
You mean like this?
Yes, Toolbox Tuesday.
Toolbox Tuesday, and it is Tuesday.
Created for us.
Oh, that Brian.
If you could create a scene in a haunt with unlimited money and space, what would you build? What would you build? I know what I would build.
Okay. This question is for all of us, but Devin, you go first, unless you want us to go first.
I think Troy will try to steal my idea. But
yeah, so go first. We'll make Troy go last.
I love Disney. I love Adventureland. I love Frontierland. And I've always wanted to have the space to really, like, I'm inspired by Indiana Jones, and I really want to create that, like, forest atmosphere with a suspended drawbridge, running water. Like, really, I love outdoor scenes that are indoors if you can do it right. And so if I had endless money, it would be creating a jungle scene that's like epic.
Create jungle theme. Indiana Jones.
Indiana.
Okay. All right. What? Oh, sorry. I was just writing down notes of shopping list. Yeah.
I think.
Dan, what about you?
I think if I had unlimited amounts of money, I would create a scene, and it's one of those scenes that, and I don't know, Troy, you probably know about it. Devin, I don't know if you've been to Chicago, but Statesville Haunted Prison had a bungee person that they bounce down and bounce back up. And I don't even think they sell it at Transworld anymore.
Yeah, they do.
But do they?
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it.
There's a new company that does it, but yeah, it's
an amazing scare where they're like 8 feet up and they bounce down and the bungee pulls them back up.
Yep. And
I would love to create anything around that scare. So that would be the scare I would do. And of course, digital effects. More digital effects, the better.
Well, I know with Hell's Gate, they've got the 2 girls that are up in the picture frames.
Yeah, but they're not on bungee. We're not on bungees. They just go sliding across the ceiling.
Oh yeah, they fly across. I forgot.
What, Dan, was that in that clown room with the checkers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I never got to go, but I watch the videos every day.
Man, I used to watch those videos all the time. I still watch all those videos.
Yeah,
I know.
I was up at 4 a.m. last week. I was bored, and I watched the last end of Statesville documentary, the 38 minutes. Oh my God. I watched it. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like it's a part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. John does such a good job at storytelling, and they put their videos.
We might have to have John on next year, maybe.
I think we should have John on. John, I know you're not watching, John, because you're probably doing something with haunted houses right now, but we really need to get you on.
And he is so kind. My first year I went to Transworld, I walked right up to him, and he gave me so much good advice, so much information. His start was kind of similar to ours in terms of the budget size and stuff. And so it's just awesome that we have someone like him in the industry where he's not too big time to share secrets and talk to people.
That guy, he's very grounded in his success, and like Ben Armstrong is another one that's like that.
Yes.
That they will sit down and talk to, and Alan Hops as well. Sometimes people talk about the old guard of the haunt industry, that they're like, don't talk to me, and I'm not going to share things and stuff like that.
There are some out there.
There are still, but the majority of the ones that are still active now, and maybe that's a hint. The ones who are very giving of their time and their information, they're still doing awesome things, and they've got several haunts, and they've got big, giant, well-known haunts. And the ones that were like, no, don't talk to me, I don't want to talk to anybody, Facebook, blah, 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 they're not around anymore. So, hint,
Yeah.
For me, anyways, I would do, because I want to appease my wife at every step of my life. She's not even here, and I'm saying this. Is the most ultimate Frankenstein theme, but I would want it to be encompassing the rest of the Universal monsters. And I know I've said we're going to do that for our home haunt, but there's no way I can do what I want to do with that. But after seeing the one at Dark Hour, I'm like, I can't beat that, but I'll beat that. So I'll take care of that, and I'll be the Dark Hour, of home haunting out there. But yeah, if I had that kind of money, I could do that. But Frankenstein lab type theme with all the cool, and make it interactive. My big thing now is making stuff interactive for like my display, and that's a big thing for me. Is I want to make things interactive, so people have to press buttons to get out of the room or something.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but Michael Malone just posted.
Yes.
What is KS class certification? Would you like to elaborate on that one, Devin?
Sure. Yeah, that's something. Chaos certification, something the haunted attraction. I keep saying Haunted Attraction Association. I was about to say the network puts together, where it's a safety certification. You take a 4-hour safety class, and mine was taught by Spencer Terry and blanking on his name, but he's a former president. It's really great presentation, and they go through everything from safety. They show you a very traumatizing video about a fire, but it really hits home on you don't want to be in that situation. So you go through a bunch of safety classes, and then there's a lot of other classes that different industry leaders are teaching that helps with that certification. And it's a 3-year process. You get a certificate for 3 years that you're certified by the association. And then I believe after 3 years, you just have to take one class to renew it. But it's helped us a lot, both learning wise and then just working with our city and our fire marshals and stuff.
How did that go, by the way? Because like we had talked to Spencer about it. You know, he was on earlier this year. Yeah, he was our first episode. And that was one of my questions was, you know, you take this class, you pay for it, you go through all the time, and you walk up to a fire marshal and you go, well, I'm chaos certified. And he goes, I'm certified to mow my lawn, you know, cool deal. You know, how did that process go when you talked to the fire marshal and you?
It's a great question.
Told him
so when I broached it, I did my whole safety plan where I went over the top with it. And in that, I kind of had to educate him about the haunted attraction industry, how much money it generates, the revenue, kind of a little history of the Haunted Attraction Association, and kind of make that organization legitimate in his eyes. And then showcase that I went through a certain amount of credit classes to get safety training, and then went through how that helped develop my plan. So I almost had to sell him what the industry is and what their association is. I'm not sure if that I had to, but he right away was like, yeah, you know, this makes sense. And you do have people like Spencer Terry who come from big industries, and a lot of people that do teach this class come from just a plethora of backgrounds. And so I had an easy time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the same for everything. And I know it is harder in bigger cities. My fire marshal really didn't know, had never been really approached. They've had to go through fire checks with the other haunts, but he said he'd never been approached the way I approached him. And so it was probably new for him. He was like, okay, this is great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It took a lot of time off of him, you know, to have to sit there and be like, okay, you know, did you do all this? You do all this. He comes in going, this guy's already got all this stuff in his mind. He did this all before I walked in. You know, I didn't have to sit here and go, where's your fire extinguishers? Where's this? Or the fire, you know, all the stuff that goes with it. You were like, boom, here it all is. And that's one of the biggest things that even I've said to people, and I don't even own a haunted house, is that you need to approach the fire marshals and be ready. Don't make them do all the work, because then they're going to be mad at you from day one that you made them do all this extra stuff. What would you say would be a tip for somebody who is starting out as a pro haunt in like a smaller city, in regards to like fire marshal and code stuff?
Definitely do your research, get the literature. There's different, some people are like, oh, you only need 36 inch hallways, but in Oregon it's 4 feet, and there are areas that kind of get like crazier, but really know what's expected and then create that plan. I think that don't try to be the person that tries to say, hopefully they don't ask me about this. If you're, I mean, you could go different approaches, but the way we did it was over-explained it, made them really assured and trusting in me, because that's what they're kind of doing. They have to trust me as an individual, that I know what I'm talking about, and that I put safety as the highest part of my business. And so really going in with that confidence. And if you do your research, that meeting should be pretty easy. But the way we do is we have a fire check a week before we open, and then we have one the morning we open. And in 2021, my haunt wasn't done. It never is done, but I pulled an all-nighter the night before we opened. And so it was like 6:00 a.m. and I was like, I have a fire inspection, another one at 7, and I smell bad. I haven't slept at all. So I went home real quick, showered, and went back. And I don't know how I passed that. It's the plan beforehand, because it was just crazy. But
what is something that you do with your actors to retain them from year to year? Do you have like parties and trips and things like that? What's your secret to keep actors?
So both locations, we feed big meals at the end of the night. At our Carnival of Chaos, it's actually on someone's property. So we have the owner of the house, he's grilling like these gourmet chicken and ribs and stuff. And we have this whole buffet line. And then the other one, we had somebody cook meals beforehand. So these aren't these just little sandwiches. They're like nice, good home cooked meals. We have our cast party I'm trying to do seasonal quarterly activities. So last week we took all of our staff and cast to the Mario movie. So we paid for the last 3 rows of a theater, and anyone who could come can get a free ticket. And so I'm trying to even do a better job at communicating with them off season, but really making it more of that family dynamic. And it is really like that. It's hard because at first you try to force it, but if you do a good job, it'll naturally come. Like my actors and stuff have their own community, and I'm still kind of a part of it, but I know it's like so much. My mind's on a whole nother thing. I have good relationships with them, but the friendships that they've developed and seeing that shy kid come in, it's really making everyone feel comfortable where they can become friends with their fellow peers, and then they want to come here because it's something they're doing together. And then the food's the extra stuff. Like I said earlier, one thing for us that was really big is we wanted to make sure we paid our actors. And so we're trying to even get better at it and figure out different ways. We did an award show. We do an award ceremony banquet at the end of each year. I feel really bad because my printer broke that night. So all the people who got awards got these faded certificates. But I think this year I'm going to do some stuff with Scarab badges. I really like their concept. I'm going to design an actual jacket and stuff that they can purchase beforehand. We do give out hoodies and shirts and stuff, but really just investing in them. And for me, my prop that I really want that I haven't pulled the trigger on is a giant Gorgalore actormatronic. And every year I'm about to get one, or the last 3 years, and my wife's just like, we could do this with the actors and stuff. And I'm going to get a Gorgalore in this year. But
you have
I just knew I had to invest in them first before
I can tell you from past experience, like those Gorgalore props, that everybody talks about them. It's like the Vortex Tunnel and the Gorgalore props. Everything else is just black walls to customers. Those Gorgalore props work so well. So well. That's a shameless plug. You're welcome, Kevin.
So I know that I'm trying to find it because when I'm doing this show, my internet tends to go a little slower, especially on Facebook. I do know, and this is probably not something that your wife wants to hear, but they are when they go to why isn't it on his page? He's bringing a bunch of things to MHC that are like at a huge discount.
Really?
They're overstock, or they're not to his level of quality. They're like off qualities, or what do they call them? Second. There's something else.
What did he list? Because
he brings like extras and odds and ends and stuff like that, like stuff that's not painted. Usually, he's done that in the past.
So he says, a creepy closeout section will not pre-sale any of them. The speed of the sale is critical. Bring cash. We have 9 giant costumes, including the stands, in all various stages of disrepair. Starting at about $1,000. But they have a bunch of bad casts and stuff like that. And bad casts, that's a bad way to put it. They're not bad. Like they're you could definitely, you
can make something out of it.
Make them look really nice.
Perm blood and a little extra.
Yeah.
A little extra.
But again, you're gonna be giant. That's a giant prop, so you're gonna probably have to drive to Chicago.
That's what I was just gonna mention. Being in Oregon's hard because shipping costs a lot. I bought 2 years ago. If you guys remember in Transworld, that bedroom set where the bed went crazy. I purchased it. Didn't know that Dead Farms was in Kentucky. And so shipping it almost cost as much as I paid for it. Same with my vacuum form panels and stuff. So next Transworld, I'm going to get a truck in U-Haul and buy some cool props.
Is he selling his old stuff, or is you just going through pictures of Kevin's stuff?
Yeah, well, this is probably stuff that he's bringing, it looks like.
That's in his silo.
Oh yeah,
that's in the museum silo.
He does have a pretty cool property there.
We should have Kevin on.
We should have Kevin on.
We're totally Kevin and Devin.
We're like Kevin, John, Ben.
Anyway,
have him give out a Gorgalore actimatronic and then just rig it.
Yeah, like this. You got your actor that sits inside of it.
Is he selling this? This isn't one for sale, is it?
Yeah. Yeah,
this is all his stuff from his silo. This is all history.
Yeah. So this stuff that he wants to get rid of, and he's bringing it all to MHC.
Doing.
Well, he's trying to. He's got a lot of. I mean, he's making a lot of cool stuff, and he doesn't have.
I know, but he's got something going on.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll ask him next year and find out.
Yeah, we'll have to come down.
I know, right? But I think in that vein.
The rapid fire questions.
Having a fire sale.
That was very rapid. I don't even have him pulled up.
Well, he was having a fire sale, so fire.
Oh, I see what you did there.
It was a little late. It was a little late.
Devin, do you know we're nearing the end of the show if you haven't figured this out? And now we're doing rapid fire questions. Are you familiar with our rapid fire questions?
Yes.
All right. Are we ready? We got 5 of them.
Was that part of the questions? Because I tried.
No, you failed that one already.
Yes. No. All right. Here we go. Number 1. If you had 1 hour with any haunter, who would it be?
Sean the Flamboy.
Okay. Number 2. You're the first one on any trade show floor. What booth do you go to first, and what do you purchase?
Gorgo or Actimatronic. We just went through these.
Which one?
Probably the gator.
The gator? Okay.
The gator.
Or no, I meant to say the snake because I want that jungle theme, so I want the giant snake.
Okay. All right. Number 3, Troy or Dan?
I used to watch the Haunt Collective a lot, and Troy lives right around the block from me and didn't come to my haunt. So I'm probably going to go with Dan.
I knew it was coming.
Thank you, Devin.
Around the block.
Thank you very much.
He makes it seem like I can yell at him. Hey,
he's a stone throw away. Don't let him trick you.
Yeah.
Devin, stop talking about me.
You guys are in the same room right now.
In the other room.
He's in the other room. The garage across the road. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Number 4. If you had a chance to go to any haunted attraction, which one would it be?
Hell's Gate or Netherworld. Netherworld's been on my bucket list since I was a little kid. So as much as I want to go to Hell's Gate, I need to go to Netherworld.
I will put the same thing out that I did with Nora and Tyler when they said they want to go to 17th Door in California. If you go to Netherworld, let me know and I will meet you there because I need to go too.
Yeah, so do I. I haven't been to the one.
Dan, don't join in our party.
We'll all go.
All right. It's
all the way on the other side of the United States.
It's not. It's in Georgia.
Yeah, that's on the other side of the United States
for
you.
South of you. It's
Not
just a
me,
stone's throw
you.
south of you. It's around the block. Don't you understand that?
It's us. I'll get there before dinner. All right. Number 5. Actors or actormatronics? I'm sorry. Animatronics. Like you're talking about Kevin too much.
Actors.
Attaboy. That's it. That's all I got for the top 5 rapid questions.
And as a programming note, we did forget to ask the girls yesterday or last week from Haunted Overload. That was my fault. We were just talking. I did message them, and I was not talking, Dan. You were talking the whole time. I did message them. They did not get back to me in time. So once they do, I will reveal their answers on another episode later, so we can keep the tabs going.
Yeah, I feel like I should be including that because I don't know what their answers are going to be. And since they're not recorded, I feel like they're going to say you. And that's cheating. Just so you know, Devin, we are keeping tabs. And where are we at right now?
We are at 4 for Dan, 2 for Troy, and 2 for Susie, who's not even in the fucking question. I am keeping tabs of all the answers to all the questions, and towards the end of the season, we will put up a graphic that will, let everybody know, hey, these are the haunts that all of our guests wanted to go see, and the vendors and stuff.
Yes.
But as once again, somebody in the vendor world has got to start making humans for props because everybody wants actors, not animatronics.
This is true.
So yeah.
We're rounding out the show here. Troy, let's should we talk about
Devin, I wanted to ask before, and I probably should ask this before we went on, but since we're a very low produced show, are you still operating with the Hoop Factory?
No, I sold that court.
I'm gonna take that off my little thing there. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah. So you should probably update your Facebook page.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
You can be my social media manager.
Oh, before I got one more question for you, since you're a
okay.
basketball fanatic, Devin. This is not haunted house related. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Oh, can't you appreciate the greatness of both?
MJ, come on.
I can, but one's better than the other.
I think player mentality, Michael Jordan. I think best overall. If you just had to take all the skills and put them in something, it'd be LeBron James.
How can you? Okay, we're gonna talk about this.
We're gonna have another whole other episode. Didn't Michael Jordan
also, I would like to preface this. I'm from Salt Lake. I'm a Utah Jazz fan, so I might have some bias. Michael Jordan pushed off. That's the only way they won. The Jazz should have 2 championships. So you can't ask me that question, and I can't answer honestly.
John Stockton. I think that Michael Jordan just got signed to one of the teams. Like I think he actually, and maybe that was on April Fool's Day. Maybe I got had. I can't remember when it was.
You just got had.
I think I did. Damn it! I think it was. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Michael Jordan.
You just put your panties in your mouth.
He got signed by the Toronto Raptors. So.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know what it was. I swear it was. I swear it was. Dan, look it up while I'm doing the socials.
I'm not looking anything up. I'm not going to look up that Michael Jordan. It's just not true. Goof.
Before you guys kick me off, can I say something real quick?
Absolutely. You can say whatever you want.
I just wanted to thank you both so much for allowing me to come on this. I know sometimes it's harder coming in a small haunt approaching a show and just trying to get that national exposure. So it does mean a lot. And for those watching who do think, because there's a lot of people who do have a dream of owning a haunted attraction, it's a lot more accessible than you'd think. And my biggest advice would be to have a plan, believe, and then you got to do whatever it takes to make it work, because you can get there. I'm not trying to be cheesy or something, but it is crazy that I have 2 haunted houses. It's like a dream come true that I get to do this for a living. So thank you guys both for contributing to this industry and for allowing people like me to have these conversations. I don't get to talk to a bunch of haunt people in Southern Oregon. So it's really cool that I get to be on this show. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you. And that means a lot coming from us, because I mean, Troy and I have been doing this for a long time, and I don't know. That's just that means a lot. So thank you. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for saying that.
That was kind of my point with this show, was to bring on people that you haven't heard of all the time, and home hunters and vendors that are new, and and people that are in this industry that are just kind of going on day to day and not really putting they're not social like I am and stuff like that. They're not they're just doing their own little thing, and we need to highlight those people, because this industry is very large, but we're also a very tight-knit family. And I think some people kind of get lost in the Alan Hopses and the Flamboys and stuff. And we need to bring up everybody, so
Flamboy,
the Flamboy, the Armstrong.
He also got drafted to the Raptors with Michael Jordan.
He did. I looked it up. Google let me know.
Flamboy did?
Google. Yeah, the Flamboy, Alan Hops, and Ben Armstrong all play on the New York Knicks, and Kevin Alvey is on the Charlotte Hornets. So it's going to be terrible.
The real question is what kind of panties are they wearing?
Dan got drafted by the Indiana Pacers, though, so no playoffs for you.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
I'm on the Blazers, so I got a free.
Anyway, let's talk about social medias. How can we find Devin?
Social media? What?
Social medias. We didn't talk about the social medias. Let's talk about the social medias.
Like a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Facebook page. Also, Nightmares does only Nightmares do Christmas, or does Carnival do Christmas as well?
Just Nightmares on the Road.
Okay. So you can go see Christmas cool haunted stuff in Medford as well. So you got Nightmares on the Rogue, and you have the Carnival of Chaos. And you run both these, right? Yep.
Correct.
Okay. We didn't talk about the Carnival very much, but
I feel like we have Devin on again, just because there's so much more we can talk to Devin about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's where I got the information about the Paranormal Cirque. But yeah, they also have a talking about disgusting cool stuff there. I fucking hate YouTube. That was just a video. You don't have a YouTube page.
No, I'm actually creating one. I'm gonna put it out into the universe. I'm creating a haunt show on my own. I'm gonna have a lot more video work and have some really cool ideas and some expensive equipment from my other job that I'm gonna lean to it. So I do want to put myself out there more. So YouTube page coming out soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough to do a YouTube page for a pro hunt because you don't want to give away, what you do. And that's why when we have pro hunters on here, we're like, it's not going to be a lot of videos. It'll be like promo videos because they don't tend to take videos of their haunt because you don't want, that's what you're going to go see.
It's going to be less geared around me and more on just like creating haunts. Like if you've watched The World According to Jeff Goldblum on Disney Plus, where he's just doing random stuff. I just want to travel around the United States and talk to people about random things like fire marshals and interview them and other stuff, but in high quality, high produced. But
God, that sounds awful familiar. I wanted to do that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, Dan.
Hey,
we'll
Devin,
join, Dan. I'll buy your plane ticket.
I would be more than happy to be your videographer.
Awesome.
He does some good stuff if you're a volleyball player. Other than that, I don't know.
Go fuck yourself, right? Or if you're a topless barista.
Topless baristas. God, I still drive by that one every day.
I saw that episode actually.
And I think we'll ask Corinne's here in just a second. He also has Nightmares on the Rogue, the Instagram page, so you can follow all that and get all kinds of cool stuff. And the website is nightmaresontherogue.com. And then you can see both the haunts there. Also, you have some news about your family, right?
Yes, we are expecting a baby boy anytime. Another haunter. Yeah, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter who loves haunts, and have a bunch of pictures of her helping me, and then we'll have a little son. So super excited.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I have a son and a daughter, and my daughter loves haunted houses. My son does not. Like, he'll go to a haunted house, but he's not into it, like, at all. So I don't want to jinx it. So I want your son to be like, haunted houses, yeah! Because mine is like, Fortnite, yeah! And it's I can't relate to it.
I'll push him on haunted houses and basketball. He'll have to like one, right? It's like flipping a coin.
There you go. Yeah. Also, Corinne wants to know, because this is a tight-knit little Northwest Haunters family here. Corinne is a Canadian haunter. Did you work with Darkwing Manor?
Unfortunately, I did not. I moved to the area right when they were closing down, but I've heard nothing but great things.
Yeah, that was a cool haunt. They like went through their old home. Like, it was like their haunt was in the home, the whole entire thing. And it was like they lived there when it was not open, So, I mean, it was very, 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 very cool. So yeah, he is. I totally forgot to mention it, but Devin is one of the members of the Northwest Haunters Association. So he's pretty helpful in that, and so he doesn't know it yet, but he's taking it over when I leave for Texas.
We're taking applications. That's what you're supposed to say.
Oh yeah, right. No, I already tapped him. He has the whole thing. He's now the president of the whole thing. So
well then.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that too, Dave.
I tried to get in the NorCal Association also, because I'm like 15 miles from the border, but they wouldn't let me in.
What?
That's right.
Well, I mean, they're nice. I'm on the Facebook page, but like I'm technically Oregon.
We got NorCal Haunters in Northwest, so you should tell them that. You should say Troy said North, or I'll kick them out of Northwest then. Don't be disrespecting my members. All right. Well, yes. Pre-congratulations to the birth of your son. When you do, when you end up posting it on Facebook, we'll probably, we'll announce it, because I believe is the 25th is when the due date is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we actually have an episode that day, so maybe we'll get dual news.
Yes, dual news.
Dual news.
Anyway,
Dan, that was a segue. Dan,
dual for what? What for?
Dan,
what?
did you not catch the segue? We have a show next week.
Oh, dual news. Speaking of dual news, Susie's not coming on next week, but we do have another show.
Yes, she is. She will be here, or she'll be off the show.
We actually had a falling out with Susie. She's not on the show, but we know that a lot of people follow for her. So we just keep using her name until she sues us and we can't do it anymore.
Susie is actually an AI person. She's not actually real anymore. She's been off the show for 2 seasons now. We just keep using her voice.
I think we should. Troy, can you make a segment? Because I know Susie didn't watch this all the way to the end. Can you make a segment that says "Ask Susie anything"?
Ask Susie anything? Sure, why not?
And then we'll post it on the Facebook page because she won't read that, and then we'll get a bunch of questions, and then we'll make an AI or something that responds to them.
You're by the way, I'm moving to Dallas in 2 months, so no. Dan, who's going to be on the show next week, Dan?
Who's going to be on the show next week? I don't know. Who is it?
It's going to be Scarlet Badges, Brian Foreman.
Oh, is Plunky coming too? Or is it just Foreman?
I believe it's just Foreman, but I can ask him if I think I mentioned if Plunky wants to come. But yes, Brian Foreman from
boy, that guy's talking about a guy that's got a lot of businesses.
Right. He's a post office delivery person. He used to own the Dead Factory in Mexico, Missouri, and now he is the proud co-owner of Scarlet Badges, which, I mean, I literally have one right here on my tank. Look at that,
Haunt Master.
It's on my keyboard all the time because
do you have a little podcast one? I got a little podcast.
Yes, he did give me the little microphone guy. Yep. Good. So yep, and they are a sponsor of the Terror Tours. So
look at that. Moving up in the world.
Look,
all right. We gotta go.
We're out of here.
Thank you again, Devin, for coming on tonight. It's been so much fun. And
yes,
Troy, it's been real. Susie,
bye, Susie.
Bye, Susie. We'll see you next week. Okay, bye, everybody.